Here's a few interesting points about media now, which I think Neil Postman would actually really like, and they probably would have had a good discussion about this if Neil Postman was alive. But I think he died in '99, I think, or 2001. 2001 he died. This is on page 232. So he says, in the civic life of the nation, the politics of issues was transformed into a politics of images, right? So from issues to images, like you may know of a hundred, or a couple hundred years ago, there was no TV, obviously, and the only way to really engage in politics was to go into the city and get pamphlets. People would print these pamphlets, these 1 or 2 page little pamphlets, and on this pamphlet would be some paragraph it would be a writing. It would not be an image. It would be writing on some issue. Like, for example, Thomas Paine wrote all kinds of pamphlets on, well, not only religion, but also decentralizing from England at the time. But now we have what he says here is the politics of images, and I'll keep reading now, in which charisma became all important, and no point that required more than 4 words could be made effectively. Events on the news were so dramatized, cut, ordered, framed, interpreted, that they too became art forms, but an image of the false and the unreal. An entire ethos gradually emerged in the melange of ads, political announcements, sports, sitcoms, westerns, and public service programs. TV was good-natured and laughed a lot, but it was intolerant of anything much out of the ordinary. It was anti-intellectual, taking things at their most democratically obvious. It was family-centered, presenting in ads and dramas a pompous and foolish but hard-working father, a shrewd but retiring mother, and a bunch of loud go-getting children. So just on that part, I think I see a lot of that today, and even on YouTube. A lot of people who make videos have kind of clipped, as I call them, clipped videos. You see them talking for about even sometimes 5 seconds, and then it's clipped. And then sometimes they've moved. They moved to the other side of the screen, and now they're talking for 5 seconds. And then it's clipped. Like, my God, I can't imagine being the editor on those videos. But still, it's obvious that the people will say something, and then they stop, and then they don't know what to say next, or whatever, and then they move, and then, oh, I know what I'm going to say, and then they say it, and then they have to clip that, and oh my God, but they manufacture these videos to try to include the best stuff they have to say on whatever the video is about. And notice when he says about nothing more than 4 words could be made effective, so you have sound bites, right? Or Twitter. Twitter confines your characters. And I think a really good example is Donald Trump, and even in Canada here, Justin Trudeau, who's Prince Trudeau. These are charisma candidates. These are people who are merely popular because of how they look and how they act. But if you were to analyze their ideas, they would be idiots. The stage and the drama is what makes these people who they are, not their ideas. So if you were to get down to details on Trump's plans, and you see a bit of that when he's criticizing the media, because he's a Republican, right? So he'll get criticized in the media, unlike the Democrats. They make him spell out what he means by building a wall or whatever, and he doesn't really have any details. He just kind of goes on we're just going to make America great, so don't worry about it. There's no ideas there. There's no plan. There's no intellectualism there. It's just all of the drama. But the drama works. The charisma works on TV. Now, let me get to the next part. This is on the next page. So he says, where literature was elitist, TV is democratic. It obviously does not favor authors as print did. 50 years of television made not one writer or even one director famous. It has made only stars. So I think that's a very revealing part. Who do we love about movies and TV? Who are the directors of these movies and TV programs? We often don't know because they're not there. Who we think are great are the actors or the TV sitcom actors. We like them and we will look them up. But all the people that go into making this show, this spectacle, they're nobodies. They don't exist, right? This has a wildly different way of consuming media than it is to read literature, to read an author's ideas and thoughts on a certain thing. This is wildly different. When he says that literature was elitist, literature requires work and effort. You have to sit and you have to read it, you have to think about it, you have to make little notes if you want to, and depending on the work, if it's more difficult, if it's if it's a classical literature or it's something of nonfiction, it's going to require you some effort. You can't sail through here like you could on reading Harry Potter novels, for example. Same with TV, and by the way, I don't mean to disparage Harry Potter. I read Harry Potter, and it's very good. It's a very good adventure series, but it's like TV. It doesn't require effort. There really isn't anything intellectual in Harry Potter whatsoever. The author did not create an intellectual work. It is a work of pleasure and fantasy and adventure. And TV is much like that too. Most TV programs are not at all intellectual. You can even watch The Nature of Things with David Suzuki, a person I loathe, and there's no intellectual stuff there either. They show you how wonderful and amazing nature looks, and it is. It does look wonderful and amazing. And then the last few minutes of every single episode, of course, then they shit on everything and say, oh, but the humans are destroying the world, so all this is going to go away, which is, pretty terrible, but there's no thought. There's no, well, why is it going away? Well, what are we doing? What are the alternatives? Well, what if we stop using nuclear power? What will happen to our living standards? There's no discussion. It's just like, oh yeah, look how wonderful this nature is, but it's all going to go away because of us. It's so anti-intellectual and stupid. But that is, for the most part, there's obviously some exceptions, but for the most part, TV, as he says, it's democratic. It appeals to the masses. It is easy, and it is, for the most part, full of anti-intellectual and prepackaged ideas and ways, especially with advertising, ways to appeal to your emotions, not your brain, because they don't want you to think about it. They just want you to buy it. They just want you to buy the next iPhone or all kinds of stupid car commercials that always appeal to power and strength and getting through that dirty mud with your Jeep or whatever it is. It's always just sensationalism. And that is used like a behaviorist would, like a Skinner would. It's always meant to control your behavior. It's never a consider the following. It's never that. Find me that on TV. It's so unbelievably rare.